Hey there, fellow nostalgia buffs. Welcome back. David Eon and, of course, the stunning Miss Lady Pop Hunter here with another open discussion. It's something that we've been kind of kicking around between ourselves for a long time, and it's come up in the live streams here, there, and everywhere. It's a pretty obvious topic of discussion, if you will, because I'm sure the people in our age category talk about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
And that is physical media dying? As a matter of fact, is it kind of dead already? And we're just sort of keeping it on life support. Those of us who are nostalgic for vinyl records and for VHS cassettes and DVDs,
CDs,
and
books. That also includes books.
Actual books that you can hold in your hand and read, things like this. Is this just honestly really kind of dead, and the majority of the world is using digital media, and we're just, like I said, keeping it on life support because we're nostalgic for it, or because we see something wrong with relying entirely on digital media? There's a lot to be said for that. And really where this spawns up out of, as far as a full-on conversation, comes from the one that we did about vinyl records. We did a video talking about, is vinyl records dead? Some months ago, because we collect vinyl records and we listen to vinyl records. We have an actual record player that spins, and you put the little needle on, and the stylus, and you listen to music like in the old days, a couple thousand years ago. But out of that, when we put that on there, I actually got scolded in the comment section by people saying, we don't know what we're talking about, because vinyl records have made a huge comeback. And if you go to these trendy stores in downtown New York, and they sell out of their limited editions all the time, and it's like, are you listening to what you're actually saying? You just told me that these, not trying to be sarcastic, but it's going to come off that way, but basically artsy fartsy hipster downtown New York stores that sell out of limited edition runs of what, like Mondo makes limited editions of records, and 250 of this pressing and 500 of that pressing. Yeah, they're probably going to sell out, and that's hardly an indication that it's making a big comeback. Or like the section in Walmart or Target, which is what, usually 2 shelves that are 10 feet wide, has maybe 60 albums on it. And you compare that to when we were kids, and I used to go downtown to Tower Records, which was like a 2-story building that was the size of a modern Walmart, okay, filled with records and cassette tapes and VHS cassette tapes, loaded. Not Mondo or some other record company making 1,000 pressings or 1,200 pressings of this or that. That would have been unheard of in our day. Limited edition run was like 250,000 copies. They used to press off albums by the millions. Are they doing that now?
Well, we were really more concerned with because you and we were watching is a YouTube channel that we watch all the time, and the guy talks mainly about music, 100% about music.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And the direction that music is going compared to where it was in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
And he was talking about not the difference, but physical media versus digital.
Yeah.
And how so many people have moved from physical to digital. And then later on that same night, we were talking to a friend, and that came up, digital media versus physical. And I actually like both. I like having a book in my hand, the record, the CD, the tape, the DVD. But I do like the convenience of having digital media, and say you want to hear a song, you can just pull it up on YouTube or Amazon Music or Pandora or something like that, and you don't have to fumble with the CD or the record, or especially when you want to watch a movie or a TV show, you can just pull it up on your streaming network. It keeps track of what, if you're watching a TV show, it keeps track of the episodes, so you don't have to wonder, because we watch DVDs and then we sit there for about 5 minutes trying to remember, did we see this episode already?
No, it depends. That does happen when we watch Gunsmoke, because it's 20 seasons and each of the boxes has like 30 freaking discs in it or something.
Yeah, and it happens to the other shows too. But then when you watch it on the streaming network, it tells you, but
if the episode is there.
Now that is one thing.
That's a huge problem with the streaming networks, is sometimes episodes are missing, or sometimes they get restricted, or sometimes a whole season will disappear.
A whole season is not there, so you'll have season 1, 2, and 5, 6, 10, 12. You know, you won't have the whole thing, but if you have the DVD in hand, you have every episode, every season, behind the scenes, interviews. You have all of that stuff. I know for me, books, I do not read books on the computer. I won't read it on the computer.
I think that's hard on your eyes anyway.
I definitely won't read it on the eyes. My eyesight already bad.
Your eyesight ain't that bad.
And then you have, I know comic books are moving to the digital comic books.
Yeah.
And you've already seen issues with digital books. The Amazon had their thing.
The Kindle, and we've brought that up before because it was a huge big deal, because it was 1984, and they claimed it was a copyright infringement problem. Basically, they made up an excuse, and they had to retract the books from people. First, they said it was an accident. Then they said it was because of a copyright problem, and then they apologized and gave it all back, because they violated their own contract by removing things from people's Kindles. But bottom line, they erased every copy of 1984, Animal Farm, Brave New World, all of the books that are banned from public schools. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If they banned it, you should probably read it. But the first one was something like 180,000 copies of 1984, and then everything else. And the people noticed. And were like, where the hell's my book? They noticed
real quick.
Not only that, but they could alter a book and you'd never know it.
Yeah, and that's my big thing. And I've talked about it before, especially with the Bible. And you go to church and people reading the Bible. There's already
a lot of bad translations of the Bible.
People reading it on their phone, and they're reading it on the little tablet. And half the people don't know it anyway. So if you just change some words around, take this verse out, change these words for that word, you can change the whole meaning.
Make it mean whatever you want.
You will never know how many times you get Google alert saying, oh, this app needs to update.
Yeah.
It updates.
Constantly.
It is convenient. If you're thinking of something, you type it into Google, it shows you exactly where it is, but then you pick up the physical book and you read it yourself.
Yeah.
I always use that as an excuse. I mean, not as an excuse, but as an example, because they can change whatever they want and you will never know. But if you got that book in hand that you bought 10 years ago, you can't change the words in there. Somebody can rip a page out, but then hey, it's a page missing. You know what I'm saying?
They change definitions constantly.
Yeah, and we saw that. What word was it? It
was
oligarchy. Oligarchy.
Because I was doing some research, and oligarchy changed, the official definition changed from one day to the next, and not just on Google, but on Wikipedia. It was on Bing. All of them, because I double checked, and they had changed and this was just a few months ago at the start of the you-know-what war. I don't even know if I can say it without getting in trouble here.
Yeah, the U-war.
Yeah, that they changed it to include the word Russians. They added that, and within like 24 hours, all of the definitions included the word Russian, and it's like, if nobody knew any better or no one had seen it before. Because if you might have seen it before, I'm like, did this say Russians before? And you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know, but we had a dictionary.
Plus, so like I said, I was doing research online anyways, and then when I went back like the next day to look, the definition was different.
Yeah.
And stayed that way.
And that just tells you if something is going on and they need to change it around, we're going to stop right there, but they need to change it around, they can, because it's digital. So back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
Is physical media dying? I think it's dying because of the convenience of digital.
Yeah.
Digital, I will admit, is convenient. But what if something happened? The internet goes out for 6 months.
Yeah.
Now all you got is your streaming service that's not there.
Big solar flare.
Yeah, solar flare or something like that.
And you have no books in your home.
No books, no DVDs, no records.
But you see evidence of it in the stores, because you remember when Best Buy used to have a big DVD department.
Huge CD department. I used to go there all the time to buy CDs.
Software, video games, all that's been cut down like 95% now. There's like a one aisle has some DVDs in it. There's no CDs at all. There's no software unless it's tax season. And then the box only has a code in it. There's no disc in there anymore. And then what's the other one? The video games. They still have video games, I think, in the Best Buy, don't they?
I'm not sure. I
can't remember. But that's all gone away now. The video games are starting to disappear as well, which is affecting places like GameStop, because you can download access to it from these updated systems. So cartridges and discs are going away. It's all fading away for convenience. And you can see it in the stores in real time if you can remember, if you're old enough, and you can remember when these departments were massive, when they were huge.
I remember when Walmart had a big media section, and if you had a CD, you could scan it. It had the code, the barcode. You can scan it and listen to about 20, 30 seconds of the song.
No, that's right.
So you can sample it.
And then in the record stores, of course, when the new album came out, they had a sample record on that you could put headphones on and listen to in the booth, so that you could listen to a couple of the tracks. But again, this is when they were pressing off millions of copies of an album.
And I mean, you had like the video store, like you had Blockbuster Video.
Oh yeah.
The Family Video.
The rental stores.
The rental places where you used to go but none of that is there. I mean, you still have Redbox if you want to
call it that.
Yeah, but that's just like a booth that you go to, not a huge store where you had like thousands of videos that you could choose from, and then you could talk to the worker and say, hey, you got any recommendation? Or they had the recommendation section, like so-and-so's recommendation, new releases, and all of that.
And then they would sell them when they got, because they buy like a couple hundred copies, and they put the box and the tape out, and then you take the tape out from behind the empty box and leave it on the shelf, and then rent it that way. And that was a heartbreaker when you go to the video store. You're like, oh, I'm going to rent such and such, and all the boxes are there, and there's no tapes anymore.
Yeah, they were out.
And they kind of did that with the DVDs too, but those days are gone, because you don't have to rent from a store anymore. It was a way to, I'll spend a couple of bucks and watch the movie at home instead of buying it, especially when VHS tapes first came out. Again, if you're not old enough to remember, they used to cost around $100 a piece.
Yeah, and the same with DVDs
VHS.
When they first came out. Now you can get a DVD for $3.
Were pretty expensive.
Yeah.
The only thing that's retained a high release value is video games. They're still pretty expensive when they first come out.
Yeah.
But after a while, they're not worth much.
Yeah.
They devalue. Modern video games devalue very quickly.
Yeah.
So that's what we've been looking at. But like I was saying, you could see the shrinkage going on in the stores, where less and less of this media is available. And the reason it's not available is because there aren't enough people really looking for it for the store to want to be bothered.
And then you have people that want to downsize and want to have less.
Yeah.
So they want their house to be, I can't remember the word for it, but they don't want stuff in their house. So then and I've seen articles where they get on people because they have books in their house.
I've seen that too. It's like
Yeah.
it's taking up a valuable space to have actual books in your home.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I got the space. What do you care? You don't come over.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Is that so horrible?
Yeah. And they want you to live in this tiny house with nothing, but we're not going down that road. But still, you have people, they don't want nothing. I remember we had somebody came over to our house
Yeah.
to do some construction work. And the guy was like, wow, you have all these DVDs. I think I have like one.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
And doesn't have a DVD player.
Yeah.
I can't remember why he said he had it. I remember that though.
Yeah.
He was like, he has a DVD, it's not opened, and he doesn't actually have a DVD player. He'll have to get one sometime so he can watch it.
Yeah, because he screams everything. And it's
Yeah.
like, so and when he was looking, he was like, I mean, his eyes were like wide, like this is the first time I've seen DVDs in a person's house.
And it's not even like we have all that much.
I know, because we've talked on the live stream, and some people have said how they got thousands of DVDs.
Yeah, I got 6,000 Blu-rays and stuff. It's like, wow.
I know,
that's a lot.
that is a lot.
Yeah.
And we've watched people tour, DVD tour, Blu-ray tour, and they got like a room jam-packed with DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like that.
Do you remember the yard sale? And we got those kung fu movies
God,
on
yeah.
disc, and the woman was like, and literally they were like 10 for $1. They were that we got a ton of DVDs there that day. It's all like these cheesy martial arts films and
Yeah.
stuff because we love that stuff. But she was like, wow, 10 for $1. I didn't even think they would sell. I mean, who has a DVD player anymore?
Yeah.
She said that, and this woman was like maybe 40.
She was older than that.
Was she older?
She was older than that. And I mean,
And
we
I'm
got
like,
a
how
bunch of
old
DVDs.
am I? What happened?
Because everybody is streaming now.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, yeah, we have cut our cable. We are cord cutters. We did that years
Long time
ago,
ago.
To save money. And,
Well, not only that, but one of the main reasons that I didn't want cable was because I didn't want my kids to have direct access to just anything.
Yeah,
so
that too.
There was no streaming anything to my TV. You selected from the DVDs. I had a bookshelf set up, or DVD shelf, whatever, set up with DVDs for the kids. And if you wanted to watch something, it came out of here. That way I knew exactly what they were looking at.
Yeah.
So that no, like I'm going to walk in on them watching like 50 Shades of Grey or something. And you're like, what the hell are you looking at? I've never even watched that. I don't think I can sit through it. I hate that kind of stuff. But yeah, that way I could completely control what they were watching. I knew what it was. What do you want to watch? Pee-wee's Playhouse. Okay. We'll put it. I know exactly what that is. I don't have a problem with it. You know, whatever. But yeah, so I got rid of cable like a million years ago.
Yeah. And then with the streaming service, things expire. Because I know on
Yeah.
Tubi it tell you 14 days and this movie or TV show is going to expire. So once it expires,
Try
you're
to
not
force you to
watching
binge, and we don't like to binge.
Yeah.
We want to watch one episode at a time. Because if you binge, you miss things. We did a video on that some time ago. But yeah, you miss a lot when you binge. And there was a guy, he watched the A-Team, and he watched all 5 seasons, I think, like over a weekend or something. I don't know how he did it. But he was like, yeah, because I was so excited, and I got the box set, and I watched all the episodes, and I started naming things from out of the episodes, and it's like, oh, do you remember when Boy George was on? Did you catch the Battlestar Galactica Easter egg in the intro? And it's like you watched he said he watched the intro with every transition. There's a Cylon in the intro. You must have watched that intro like
80 times.
More than 200 times for 5 seasons, because the season would be like around 30 episodes, 25 to 30 episodes, whatever. And you didn't see that. You didn't see Boy George in there. You don't remember what happened when Hulk Hogan was on, because it all was a blur.
Yeah.
It was a blur. You miss a lot when you binge, guys. Slow down.
Yeah, because I binged when I had foot surgery and I was laid up for 3 months, and I watched all of Lost. I think it took me maybe a week. I
Uh-huh.
watched the whole thing on Netflix. And I was, you know, and a whole lot of other shows that I wouldn't have watched other than that. But, you know, you don't get the full effect with binging. But we're not talking about binging.
They kind of press you into that. They want you to sit there and hurry up and watch everything.
Yeah, I don't want to hurry up and watch. And then, yeah, and like, you have these devices that you put stuff on. Like, I will download songs to my phone because, you know, when you're cutting the grass, when you're going for a walk or something like that, you want to listen to your music while you're doing that, or you're on a long road trip. So I'll put stuff, but once it's full, you got to be like, oh God, I got to delete something. What am I going to delete? Am I going to delete an app, some pictures?
Yeah, the modern mixtape.
Yeah,
That
your
doesn't
phone.
happen anymore.
No, that's long gone. We used to sit and pick out songs to make a tape, and songs that meant something to you.
Yeah.
You put together a tape or a mix CD, because I used to do tapes and CDs.
Okay.
And but now you just got your phone and you got your playlist on the phone.
Yeah. Another reason they want you to stream is so that they can track everything that you're looking at.
Yeah.
Because they do keep a record of that.
Yeah, because you watch this, you would like that.
Yeah, and they know stuff about you wouldn't believe, because I've seen some of the statistics, like how many black people watched this and how many Hispanics watched that, and how you get the idea. It's ridiculous how much data they collect on that. You'd be amazed.
But you buy that DVD, they won't know.
No, they won't know nothing. But again, and why they want to track everything so they can try to sell you something, and they can't even get that right.
Yeah.
They advertise stuff to you that doesn't make any damn sense.
No.
But it is. I get yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, I was about to move on. Go
Okay,
ahead.
go ahead and move on then.
No, but is physical media dead or dying? I can see it dying because you don't see people really reading books anymore.
No.
Barnes and Noble, Books A Million.
The bookstores have been hurting for well over a decade.
And now they're selling like toys or collectibles.
They're coffee shops.
And stuff like that is in there. But people aren't buying that stuff anymore.
No, and then they shoot themselves in the foot because, and I talked about this a long time ago about Barnes and Noble, because Barnes and Noble is cheaper online than it is in the store. So you're undercutting yourself. You're putting your own store out of business with your online sales. And it's like, okay, you know, does that make sense? I don't know. But the bookstores have been hurting for a long time. Newspapers have
They
all
don't
but
even
faded
make
away.
newspapers no more, I don't think.
I'm not sure if they do.
I know
do
in
they do
Atlanta-
daily papers anymore?
No, I know
don't
in Atlanta
Yeah.
they used to, and then they cut it back to only Sunday, and then they cut the size of the newspaper down. So, you know, it was all big and you had
Yeah.
to spread it out. Then they made it all small, and now you can go to the AJC website to read the newspaper because they quit sending it out every day. Only on Sunday, so you can get them stupid
Newspapers
coupons.
were so popular that once upon a time they used to have newspaper vending machines. There was one on almost
Yeah.
every corner.
And they
put a
had like
quarter in
3-4 different types. USA Today,
Yeah.
Newsweek, and your local paper. Something like that.
Or Boston, it was the Boston Globe and the Boston Herald, and the machines were usually next to each other, chained to like a telephone pole or something. And you put a quarter in and get a paper out. You'd open it up, and it was on an honor system. You put in a quarter, and you open it, all the papers are right there.
Yeah.
You could take the whole stack if you had any use for it. But
Yeah.
you
Take
put your quarter in, take one out, and go on. Back when it was a quarter. This going back to the 80s, of course. But and then the USA Today that came in the box that was shaped like a TV, it was supposed to look like a television. That's why they did it that way, and that's why the front page was always in color, because they wanted to make a connection with people of television and to attract them to the box so that they would buy a USA Today paper, Wall Street Journal, New York Times in Boston. They had machines for that. And when you got closer to a centralized area like downtown, you might see a row of 8 or 10 of those, all different newspapers from different cities. You know, it's but that's gone.
Yeah,
That's
you don't
gone.
have that anymore. And then because you don't have newspapers, you don't have the newspaper boy that
it's
would
an
come
industry
around
that's gone.
and deliver your papers. So I mean, it's just a lot of things that affects it.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't realize it, but without that, now you cutting jobs.
Yeah, and a young kid today, probably if you saw a movie, they had a paper boy in it, and you go, what the hell is that kid doing?
Yeah, why are you out there?
Why is he running around there
standing-
throwing bundles of paper at people?
Yeah. Or standing on the corner, extra, read all about it.
I used to be a paper boy. I delivered the Globe and the Herald in my neighborhood when I was a young kid.
I never did nothing.
Yeah, well, magazines.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause magazines used to be a
Magazines are
big
out.
deal. Some
Yeah.
place you can go into a bookstore, like if you went into Barnes and Noble, they still have a pretty big magazine section.
Yeah, we went to Books A Million the
Yeah.
other day, and we were surprised by how many magazines they had. They had a huge magazine
However,
section.
even though it's still a big section, there's fewer of them, and they're much more expensive. The prices
Yeah.
on them are insane.
$10.
Yeah, $9.95, $12.95, and stuff. And I'm like, for this? You know, I remember when this was like 75 cents. Yeah, and I'm not that old. You know, what the hell happened? Or, you know, when magazines, when you go into a magazine store, they'd have a bundle of all the new magazines. There'd be 50, 100 of them in bundles.
Yeah.
Now you go in there and there's like 4 on the shelf. It's because there's just not that much interest. People don't
I
wanna...
like reading the magazines when I'm standing in line at the grocery store. I purposely get in the line that has the magazines there, and as I'm waiting,
Yeah.
I read the cover.
She reads
I
the
like to
cover.
read the cover.
You know, part of that also ties into a lack of interest in reading in modern generations. It's a different topic of discussion, but you know that is something that I've been forced to experience, especially when I was working for the Juvenile Justice Authority. A lot of these kids, you know, honor roll graduates, and they cannot read or comprehend. It's frightening. But you know, if you can't read or comprehend, why bother?
Yeah.
You know, that
Well,
ties
they
into
dumb
it.
the books down,
That's true too.
so you don't really need to have
Yeah.
like a 3rd grade reading level
It's a shame.
with them
It
books.
really is.
But anyway, we're talking about physical media. Is it dead?
Is it dead or is it dying?
I think it is dying.
Yeah.
I really do, because and you can see it, especially if you're our age, over 40, and you remember the amount of physical media that you had in the grocery store,
And how
Walmart.
much things have how much things have changed so quickly. It hasn't been that long.
And it is with the advent of the internet, because the internet really did take away a lot of stuff. A lot of things that people did manually, they don't have to anymore. When you read a book, now you got the audio book, and they tell you, oh, download Audible, go to Amazon and listen to the book.
Yeah, now you listen to your book.
Yeah. And I mean, it's convenient for some people that maybe you're older and you have bad eyesight. So, because I know my parents, they listen to the Bible.
Sure.
So they'll pull it up. They can't see all that well and do all of that. So, and I can understand that if you're disabled, you might need somebody to read it to you. So you get audio books and you get stuff like that. But if you're just able-bodied and you, I don't want to read. Ooh, I hate reading.
Yeah. You don't hate reading, you just can't read well enough to comprehend. And that was always been my experience with working with kids. But also, since you brought up the audiobooks, it wasn't that long ago that the average person couldn't get an audiobook because it was only for the blind. And they even made fun of that in Seinfeld.
In Seinfeld, when George
in the 90s.
get an audiobook.
Yeah, he didn't want to read it because he was too lazy to read the book. So he wanted to get an audiobook, and the library was like, you can't get a copy of this. There's nothing wrong with you. And he faked an eye appointment so that he could get a card that said that he was technically legally blind, so that he could get an audiobook from the library, and then couldn't stand listening to it.
Yeah, because all dry.
It was all dry. But I mean, seriously, that's what we've come to. And the internet and has unfortunately done it. The internet has become the opposite of what it was designed to do. The original intention of the World Wide Web, that's what WWW stands for, by the way, World Wide Web for some of you younger kids there, it was to be an information highway. It was to share knowledge and ideas. But that's not what's mostly being done with it.
No.
And
I mean, it still has some benefits.
True.
I admit, it still has a lot of benefits, but it still has a lot of disadvantages. And you know, again, it's taking away physical media, but then on the flip side, almost contradictory to that, digital media is convenient, and you do have access to movies, TV shows, music that you didn't before. Like I remember before, you know, music was really on the internet, like all that. It used to be like 2-3 songs that I knew, could not remember the name, I didn't know the artist. I only remembered like a few lines, and I would pick my brain and ask any and everybody, you know this song, you know this song. But now, if you kind of just know the words and you type those words in Google, it'll come up.
There's an app that can kind of identify the tune.
Yeah, like
SoundHound
SoundHound or something like that. And now they're doing that with Google on a stupid commercial.
It's the same concept as when MTV first came live. Because who was it? The Buggles, the first video killed the radio star, which it did. People were more interested in music videos than they were listening to the radio.
And that's
music videos are a dead entity now.
But no, I was talking about the radio, because you
radio's
remember,
fading away,
they had radio programs, and you would listen to, or you had a DJ, like your favorite DJ would come on at 9 o'clock from 9 to 12 or whatever, and you could listen to the DJ or they still have, I think, morning shows. And I used to like listening to the morning radio shows. Those were good. But yeah, the DJ is gone.
People don't use it as much as they used to. The radio. What's the point?
Yeah, and music video, like
Just
you
stream
said,
it.
is just.
Yeah, but the reference being that, of course, they were predicting that music videos were going to take a lot away from radio.
And they did.
But in that same sense, every time there's a technological advancement, it takes away from a lot of that. And what used to be something normal and regular in society gets turned into an obscure hobby.
Yeah.
So reading is becoming an obscure hobby. Taking pictures, and I mean with an actual camera. You know, but
not a selfie.
Back in the day when you had an actual camera with actual film in it that needed to be developed, you treasured those photos because it was a pain in the ass process, and it was expensive. You know, you paid for that, and you'd keep a photo album, and now all those photo albums are in the trash at Goodwill because somebody died and the family don't want them. And they take 1 million pictures with their cell phone. And of course, the more you do something, the less you appreciate it.
Yeah.
Where are all those pictures?
On the phone.
On the phone. You don't look at them or have them or print them or nothing. You know, that's also a form of media that has really just been erased. And now, actual photography. There are a couple of thousand people in the world still doing it, and how much the film and equipment costs a fortune now because of the less you manufacture of something, the more expensive it's going to be.
You can find a photographer if you're getting married or you want to get some baby pictures.
And they still want to use digital cameras, though.
Well, yeah, you're going to get that digital camera. And then they don't want to give you the pictures and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But you remember when they used to take pictures at Walmart? You could go there. They had a photo center. And
Kmart and Bradley's, they all did that,
Yeah, you go in the back and you say, okay, I want to get some pictures of my baby or yourself or whatever. And they'll set you up and you pick out your background. And they took... And they had a package. You could say, I want 10 pictures, I want 30 pictures. And you pay for that. They printed it out and gave it to you.
I wonder if JCPenney still... The last place I remember still doing it was JCPenney.
JCPenney had... I think Sears might have did it too. But a lot of those places, took professional pictures. And, you know, you had Olin Mills. They used to come to your school and take pictures. Those ugly pictures at school.
those pictures were
those
terrible.
embarrassing pictures. And glamour shots. Who remember glamour shots?
God.
My mama did glamour shots one time.
Because you couldn't get professional if you wanted the whole big deal with glamour shots, for those of you who even remember it. It was in the mall, and it was like a professional photo studio, and you had costumes. You could dress up, and they would do your makeup and the whole thing like a professional
hair and everything.
Photo shoot. Because to go to get a real photo shoot, like let's say you wanted to model, or you wanted to have pictures that look like professional modeling, or you were an actor or something, even just for cover photos, you'd pay $800 and up.
Yeah, to get a headshot. They used to call it headshot.
So you could go to someplace like Glamour Shots and get it done for $150.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big deal back in the day.
Yeah.
But those places don't even exist anymore.
No, but that was a big deal to get Glamour Shots pictures, because like you said, they had costumes, they would do your makeup, they did your hair, and they gave you this nice background and showed you how to pose.
Like, what, you mean this won't cost me $1,400? Okay.
I know my mama did it one time. I've never done it, but my mom did one time. But yeah, all of that stuff is physical media, and you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, you still got places like Shutterfly. You take your pictures, you can digital, and you upload it.
And they will mail
print
you.
it. Yeah, they print it for you, or they even make you a book. Because I had a photo album book made there.
That's right.
And it's nice, you know. You take your own pictures, they print it out for you, or they'll put it in a book for you, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just, like I said, it's another form of media that, because of modern technology, has just kind of slipped away into obscurity. You know, it's amazing how we see all these things that were staples in society, sometimes for a century or more. I mean, when did radio first come out? When did record albums first start getting pressed?
Yeah. I
mean, it's been a long time. You know, how long have they been doing photography to have it reduced to that? And I know, like I said, people still take pictures, take pictures with your phone or whatever, but they don't care about them anymore, because you can go outside, take 100 pictures with your phone, and it'll sit there, because most people really don't care anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
You know?
And
newspapers, I mean, all these things, newspapers were critical, from when they first started rolling out in the 1700s.
Yeah, because that's the only way you could get information out there.
Yeah.
Now with the internet,
who cares?
The information, if something happened in Japan in 5 minutes or less, it'll be all over the internet. It'll be on CNN and every news network out there.
Yeah.
You'll have somebody with their cell phone live streaming it on YouTube and Facebook and all of them other places.
And because it's so rushed, make a lot of mistakes with it.
Yeah.
Back then they had to slow down and be sure. Oh, we're going to put this to print. It's going to cost a lot. We got to make sure we don't mess this up.
Yeah,
if we're going to print it
verify their sources.
Yeah, or rumor has it, they didn't sit there and guarantee this is what it is, and then find out it's wrong. And even if you make a retraction, people are so dim-witted, they're stuck with it now. They don't believe you when that's not what I heard, but now the CNN is telling you they made a mistake, and you don't believe them. You shouldn't have believed him the first time. Yeah,
because it came out too quick. Wait a while.
Yeah, they
I don't need to know it like as it's happening. As it's happening, we're here. We got our man on the street. I don't need that.
Turn that off.
Yeah. Let me go watch Gunsmoke.
Fast from that media. It's toxic.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
Yeah, there's so many different things. And there's other things too. There's many more things that you could probably tie in. That is fading away, and I could see a day, maybe not in my lifetime, but a day in the future, where all of that is antiquated completely, and people look at it like, wow, people used to do this.
Yeah.
But that makes no sense.
I know. And again, you see your favorite things. Like I said, comic books are getting digital now. That's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the stuff, especially as collectors, like they're trying to do the NTFs, like you got the NTF, the digital Funko Pops and the digital cards and all of this stuff like that, and it's like
I want to sit there and look at it on a screen.
Yeah, on a computer. I don't know how far that went, if it's still a thing, but they're trying to do that. You have the digital paintings and all of that stuff like that, and it's like, have something. I don't know.
I think it means a lot more when you can hold it in your hands.
I love holding things in my hand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Even puzzles. You can do puzzles on the computer.
Yeah.
Puzzle books, crosswords, actual jigsaw puzzles and things like that, where you can sit there at a table and try to figure it out and put it together. No, you get a little screen and you go like this all day.
Yeah, because now the thing is, it's too much stuff. It's waste. It's too much. You need to declutter. That's the word. Declutter your house and your life and your mind and all of that. But then you clutter it up with filth that they tell you.
Yeah, and that's just a way to make you more reliant on a device.
Yeah.
And through that, it's a way to control you. It really is.
Yeah.
So you've got to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you hear all the time, all these kids are addicted to cell phones. Why do you think that is?
Because you bought the phone.
Yeah. And they everything all day is like this. And
now you got eye disease that we didn't have 20 years ago. And that neck thing, I can't remember.
With that joint. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Where it's like they get this huge hump, their head is haunched like that instead of being upright like it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's like we laugh, but it's pretty serious actually.
It is pretty
debilitating.
Serious. Because then they're not going to exercise and do yoga to stretch it out. And I mean, you got that eye disease.
There's an app for that.
Mm-hmm. You got that eye disease, and you ain't going to get that fixed. Mm-hmm. I mean, they might have something, some kind of eye drop, but then you're going to have a heart attack because it's a side effect. So, what do you do?
Side effect may include blindness.
Yeah, and sterility.
That one's been coming up a lot lately. I know, off topic, but I've been hearing that on a lot of those medication commercials. May cause blindness. And what?
Then you get sterile and your toenail fall off, all kinds of stuff.
Something weird happens.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, we'll throw it out there, guys. What do you think about all that? Do you think it's dying? Do you think it's already dead? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? And why?
Yeah.
If you think it's a good thing that it's all fading away, tell us why you think that is. Personally, we don't. And I don't think it's just because we're nostalgic. We appreciate the convenience of the modern digital age, if you will, but we see where it's not quite so beneficial also.
You see a time coming where you're not going to have all of that. And you want to have that DVD so when you lock down in your house for 8 months, you got something to watch.
Makes me think of that one episode from the new Outer Limits from the 80s.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember the name of the episode, but basically it was predicting this. Mm-hmm. It was in the future. It was set some decades in the future. And everybody was digital. Remember the Google glasses? Mm-hmm. They had that, but it was wired in. It was like an implant. And so anything they needed to do, they would just say, network, how do I do this? And then they would see something inside their head. Mm-hmm. And then this is how I do this. And everybody just was networked. But this one guy, the guy who was the focal point of the episode, was allergic to the implant for some reason, so he couldn't have one. So he just sat in his room all day reading. He was reading books, and everybody treated him like shit. They made fun of him, picked on him, hey, loser, oh, look at you, you gotta read a book, you can't do this and that. And the network crashed. It was a global disaster. The entire network went down, and everybody's standing there like, oh my God, where am I? How do I get home? What do I do? And you see that with people with what do they call that tracking system?
GPS.
Yeah, the GPS, where they drive back and forth to work 100 times, but without the GPS, because they use it for everything, they don't know how to get to work.
Yeah.
Because they just listen to the directions and obey it, but they're not really paying attention to where they are.
Can't navigate.
That happens. Mm-hmm. That happens now. So these people couldn't get home. They didn't know what to do. They couldn't cook. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Except for him. And he was like, "What do you mean? Why don't you just do this?" And then they're all forced to be reliant on that guy now at the end of the movie.
Because he was the only one
show.
that could read and do anything manually. And it reminds me of that TV show, The Feed. You remember?
Yes.
The Feed. And it's some kind of
same
mesh.
concept. It was an implant.
Yeah, implant, and it meshes across your brain. But it's a constant feed of the internet.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at, they take pictures with it. You look at something, you could take a picture, you could do video, you can read a book. But, well, yeah, not read, because a bunch of people couldn't read because they had that thing and it tells you.
Yeah.
And then they had the kids, the teenagers, that had it when they were babies. And if they turned it off, they would go into these really bad seizures.
Yeah, they couldn't function without the constant input.
Yeah, without all of that. And it makes me think of the cell phone and how you constantly got it. And then they got the Alexa. They want you to put the Alexa in the kid's room to play stuff all night long. Kid can't sleep, all that mess going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Because look what the cell phone has taken away from you. As much as it's given you, because your modern cell phone can do more than all of NASA in the 60s. But NASA, by the way, put a man on the moon, and you're sitting there playing Sudoku.
Yeah.
But it's replaced games. It's replaced the telephone. It's replaced calculators.
Family time.
And math.
Talking.
It's replaced your watch.
Yeah.
It's replaced your calendar. Calendars were physical media.
Yeah, that's gone.
It has made most people reliant on it. It's replaced cameras, microphones, everything, and people allowed it to happen because it was convenient.
Well, not only that, it replaced physical interaction.
Yeah, and that's
people
what she was saying.
People can't sit down and have a full-blown conversation. I remember I was at it was a festival, a week-long festival. And I'm sitting, and it was an outdoor thing. And this husband and wife are sitting next to each other, texting each other. And I'm sitting there like...
I remember you telling me that.
Why are you texting? The guy is literally sitting right here like where David is.
Talk to him.
And they texting each other. He said something. She looking at him. I can't believe you said that. And then text him back, and he reads it. And it's like... What
are you doing?
Yeah. And these people were older.
And we've seen this in restaurants too. Because if we go to a restaurant, because we have our phones with us, but we stack them and we put them on the side because we're not going to. We want to sit there and talk and enjoy our meal.
Yeah.
But look at other people in restaurants and what they're doing.
All of the kids on the thing, they're not talking. They're not interacting. They're not doing nothing.
And that's sad.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be family time, but the family time is spending on the phone where you did that at home. You could have stayed home and not spent all that money on this food you're not going to eat.
And then when they don't interact, I know we trail on a bit there because we went sideways, but it's an important point. When you don't interact with people, you don't know quite how.
Yeah, then you look crazy when you're in public, but then you don't look too crazy because nobody else can interact.
Yeah, and that's why you have a younger generation. They can blame boomers if they want to, because they call everybody over 30 a boomer now. But you can blame them if you want to. But the point is, younger guys, some of you don't know how to interact, and that's why you get so upset.
Yeah.
You get these younger kids, these younger people are so angry. And they're so angry because they think that no one can understand them. They can't. They don't understand you, and you don't understand them either. And it's because you have lost the ability to socially interact with other human beings. You lack the empathy, and that's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But again, guys,
physical media.
What do you think about all of that? What do you think about all that? Thoughts? You agree, disagree? Why do you or do you not? Get the conversation going down below. Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of it. We hope that you did. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you are new. All of that good stuff. And if that is it, then what more can we say but thanks for watching. And we will see you again soon.